tweak up some little noises that we added to make it like a dreamscape. So the idea being that this kind of dream location was where all this music was going to emanate from.
It's Paul McCartney Week on Sirius XM.
And he's taking you track by track through his brand new album, Egypt Station.
I don't know. I wrote this after going through a difficult period. Like people have, nothing sort of madly serious or anything, but just one of those days when it's like, oh my God, what am I doing wrong here, you know? And sometimes that's a good way to write a song, because you're coming from your soul. And we often used to say that writing a song was like talking to a psychiatrist, a therapist or something, because you're saying it, but you're saying it in a song and rather in a room to a specialist. Yeah, so it was me just thinking this problem out and putting it into a song.
I got crows at my window, dogs at my door. I don't think I can take anymore. What am I doing wrong? I don't know. My brother told me life's not a pain. That was right when it started to rain. Where am I going wrong? I don't know, but it's alright. Sleep tight, I will take the strain.
And thinking, oh, now, okay, how do I make an approach here? So it's it's an imaginary song, it's a fantasy song about a guy seeing someone and thinking, oh, we should try and find a place to be alone here and maybe exchange information and stuff. And hey, you look like you flashed a smile that said to me you wanted so much more than casual conversation. So will you come on to me, or am I going to come on to you?
I saw you flash a smile that seemed to me to say you wanted so much more than casual conversation. I swear I caught a look before you turned away. Now I don't see the point resisting your temptation. Did you come on to me? Will I come on to you? If you come on to me, will I come on to you? Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Yes, I will now. Yes, I will. Yes, I will. Yes, I will now. If you come home to me, then I'll come home to you. If you come home to me, then I'll come home to you.
Paul McCartney is your tour guide.
On a track-by-track journey through his brand new album, Egypt Station.
Yeah, I was on holiday and I was just noodling around on my guitar, and I was thinking about the days when I had a lot of free time and used to just sort of lie around basically doing nothing all day and getting a bit stoned and just doing nothing really. Busy doing nothing. And so I'd got this little riff on the guitar and the words came to me. You know, I used to lie around all day. I used to get stoned. I used to like to get wasted. But these days I don't. So it's a song about growing up. You know, there's a period in your life or in some people's lives when they're not being as productive or not being as organized or disciplined as they may later turn out to be. So this was basically it.
I sat around all day. I used to get stoned. I like to get wasted. But these days I don't, 'cause I'm happy with you. I got lots of good things to do. Oh yeah. Around angry, I used to feel bad, but nowadays my day don't have to be sad, 'cause I'm happy with you. I got lots of good things to do. Oh yeah. Like hear the high clear robin sing, walk a bluebell carpet, watch the children playing games, catch a moon and drop it, hear the gentle mantra roll on a frosty morning, see the mighty ocean break like a sailor's warning. I used to drink too much, forgot to come home. I lied to my doctor, but these days I don't, 'cause I'm happy with you. I've got lots of good things to do. Oh yeah. Throw a pocket full of coins in the Trevi fountain. See an ice cold running stream rushing down the mountain. Hear a newborn baby lamb calling for its mother. Watching reunited friends loving one another. I sat around all day. I like to get stoned. I used to get wasted, but these days I don't, 'cause I'm happy with you. I got lots of good things to do. Oh yeah.
It's Paul McCartney Week on Sirius XM.
And here, taking you through his brand new album, Egypt Station, Paul McCartney.
With Who Cares, I was thinking about a song where you actually are talking to the people who may listen to it. And in my case, I was imagining sort of young fans or just young people generally who might hear this and who are going through some sort of problem where they're being picked on, they're being put on. And these days it would be internet bullying, trolls and all that. In my sort of school days, it would have just been bullies and people just generally picking on each other. So I know that that happens all over the world to millions of people. So my thing was to kind of try and help. Been fed up with people bullying with you? Has this ever happened? Do you ever people have called you names or done all these mean things? Has this ever happened to you? Well, who cares? And then in a twist at the end of that chorus, it's like, who cares? I do.
The new album, Egypt Station.
A track-by-track guided tour with Paul McCartney.
For you, certain songs you kind of written in advance of your recording sessions, and then certain other songs you make up in the studio, and you're just thinking of ideas as you go along. So with this one, I was in the studio with Ryan Tedder, whereas the rest of the album has been made with Greg Kurstin. But for this one, we were just thinking of ideas and little pieces of melody and chords and the song just came together bit by bit. And then I would try and make some sort of sense of the story. So it was like, come on, baby, now. Come on, baby, now. Talk about yourself. Try and tell the truth. Let me get to know you. And basically, I want to know how you feel. You make me want to go out and steal. I just want it for you. So that was the basic idea. And it developed from there. That's sort of a love song, but a raunchy love song. There you go. For you.
Come on, baby, now. Let me look at you. Talk about yourself. Try to tell the truth. I could stay up half the night trying to crack your code. I could stay up half the night, but I'd rather hit the road. On the night that I met you, I was on the town. On the night that I met you, I just wanna know how you feel. I want a love that's so proud and real. You make me wanna go out and steal. I just wanna fuck you. I just wanna fuck you. Come on, baby, now. Help me work it out. I won't let you down, so you don't need to shout. I could stay up half the night playing with your head. I could stay up half the night, but I'd rather go to bed. On the night that I met you, I was on the town. On the night that I met you, I just wanna know how you feel. I want a love that's so proud and real. You make me wanna go out and steal. I just wanna fuck you. I just wanna fuck you. And every day, and every way, and every day, and every way, I just wanna know how you feel. I want a love that's so proud and real. You make me wanna go out and steal. I just wanna fuck you. I just wanna fuck you. I just wanna know how you feel. I want a love that's so proud and real. You make me wanna go out and steal. I just wanna fuck
It's Paul McCartney Week on Sirius XM.
And he's taking you track by track through his brand new album, Egypt Station.
With the song Confidant, I happened to be at home and I was looking in the corner where propped up was my old Martin guitar that I normally just have there. So if I feel like playing the guitar, I'll take it down and play it or try and write a song or whatever you do. And I thought to myself, I haven't had time lately to play guitar. And it reminded me that when we first got guitars years and years ago, they would be like a friend. It would be like a confidant. You'd go off into a corner and you'd write a little song and you'd sort of almost tell your troubles to your guitar. It's a love song to the guitar. How the guitar was my confidant and I told you every little secret thing. And in fact, unlike my other so-called friends, you stood beside me while I fought. So it became a symbol of the guitar as a mate, as a friend, as a confidant.
You used to be my confidant, my underneath the staircase friend. But I fell out of love with you and brought our romance to an end. I played with you throughout the day and told you every secret thought. Unlike my other so-called friends, you stood beside me as I fought. In your reflected glory, I could dream of shining far-off lands where serpents turn to bits of string and played like kittens in my hand. In our imaginary world, where butterflies wear army boots and stomp around the forest, chanting long lost anthems, long lost anthems. My underneath the staircase friend, but I fell out of love with you and brought our romance to an end. I played with you throughout the day and told you every secret thought. Unlike my other so-called friends, you stood beside me as I fought. You stood beside me as I fought. You used to be my confidant.
Paul McCartney takes you track by track through his brand new album, Egypt Station.
On the Beatles channel.
We'd played a gig in Israel quite a few years ago, and I wanted to go to Palestine before I went to Israel because I was very aware of the political situation there. So I didn't want to just look like I was ignoring Palestine playing in Israel, although that was where the date was, the gig. So I made arrangements to go into Palestine across the border and go to a little music school and shake hands with the kids and hang out and listen to them playing some music, just to show solidarity with the Palestinian people. And then when I came back into Israel, I then met with some cool people from a group called One Voice, a political group kind of thing, a movement. And we ended up wearing their badges on our show in Tel Aviv. So the whole idea was a peace mission, really. Because these kids were great. I mean, I say kids, they're kind of young adults. And I'd say to them, well, what is it? What do you want to do? You know, they'd say, all we want to do is just live in peace, raise our families, you know, and be able to just get on with our lives in peace. And so that tied in with something that when I was a kid, I'd asked my dad and said, you know, we were seeing all the wars and stuff on the newspapers, on TV and stuff. I'd said to him, what is it, you know, do people want peace or do they just like to fight? And he sort of looked at me very quietly and he said, no, son, people want peace. It's the politicians and the leaders who get into wars. It's not the people. So that always struck me as a great phrase.
standing before you with something important to say. With some trepidation, I crave your attention, but I'm not gonna let anything get in my way. The message is simple, it's straight from my heart, and I know that you've heard it before. But what does it matter? We're in it together, and I'm not quitting while people are crying for more. People want peace. People want peace. A simple release from their suffering. People want peace. People want peace. Nothing in life is as sad as a lonely soul searching for peace, only to find disappointment is waiting behind every door that we open, every catch we release. Our brothers and sisters, I beg you to listen. I know that it isn't too late, but we are the people, the voices of freedom, and we're all perfectly clear that we don't want to wait. People want peace. People want peace. A simple release from their suffering. People want peace. 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 Yeah, yeah. People want peace.
Paul McCartney is your tour guide.
On a track-by-track journey through his brand new album, Egypt Station.
Sometimes songs just come to you sort of late at night, and I've got a piano at home, and in actual fact this particular piano happens to be my dad's old piano, so it's special to me. And I was sitting there one night and I just started to find these chords that are the beginning of Hand in Hand, and it's basically a love song. And as I wrote it, I was imagining me and Nancy about to go through life hand in hand. It was written early stage of our relationship. And then I started to think, yeah, well, this is a lot of people. You know, there are millions of people in that situation where they've got someone they love and they want to go through life hand in hand and to be a partnership of some kind. And it was nice, actually, when we recorded it, we had two lady cellists. That's all there is on there beside the band. And it was very sweet because at the end of it, we liked what they'd done. We said, that's great, thank you. And one of them sort of said, oh, you know what? I'm getting married for the second time and I'm a little bit nervous. He said, but this song has made me think it's going to work out all right. So I thought, that's it. You know, that's a reason right there for writing that song.
Wanna give you my heart, wanna tell you my story, gonna take you to another level, you and me. Wanna give you my word, let me give you my promise, I will try to make it happen, you can guarantee. Hand in hand, walking through life and making our plans, hand in hand. Let me into your light, wanna show you my passion, each other happy if we get it right. Hand in hand, walking through life and making our plans. Hand in hand, taking our time and making a stand. We can make this dream come true, only if we want to. We can make this dream come true, only when we understand everything in life is planned. Can we make this dream come true? Wanna give you my heart, wanna tell you my story, wanna take you to another level, you and me. Hand in hand, walking through life and making our plans. Hand in hand, hand in hand.
It's Paul McCartney Week on Sirius XM.
And here, taking you through his brand new album, Egypt Station, Paul McCartney.
One of the interesting things about songs is they often come from something that happens in your life, and your song is the reaction to it. And it can be something very small. You can just sort of have an argument with someone, and you can just go off and think, oh, I'll just play guitar for a while, get out of it, you know, get over it. And this kind of started like that. So it was just a people song about how things are really all right, but they don't always seem to be all right. And then I got this image of dominoes. You know, when people line up those millions of dominoes, and then they drop the first one and goes through this whole sequence. So I imagine that as being symbolic of life and, you know, how one little action can have such a big effect on this huge line of dominoes. And then when I recorded it, I wanted to do it very personally, because it's a sort of personal song. You know, even though we go through all this stuff, even though all these dominoes fall over and life goes on, and in fact, in the end, it's okay.
In time we'll know it's all a show. It's been a blast. As time goes by, we'll laugh and cry. It's in the past. We can start it's all a show. It's been a blast.
The new album, Egypt Station.
A track-by-track guided tour with Paul McCartney.
So I was in Brazil on tour. It was one of those nice free days where there was nothing planned. And I had a piano in the room, of the hotel room. So I got this little riff and got this idea of back in Brazil, there was this girl who dreams of a future, a far, far better world. Oh, she meets a man and he fits in with her plan. You know, so it's a story about a couple and trials and tribulations. Things are going well. Then she plans a date, but he can't come because they got him working late. And so it was just an imaginary story of two young Brazilian people. And it's kind of dancey, so I wanted to put Brazilian rhythms to it and get the flavor. Back in Brazil, there lives a girl, dreams of the future and a far, far better world. Back in Brazil, she meets a man. He's tall and handsome, and he fits in with her plan. Bright lights ahead, music and fun. Nights are for dancing and the days are for the sun. All kinds of weather will surely come and go, but they're together, and together they will steal the show. So we raise a family as the clouds roll by, making pictures of us in the sky. The kids are happy and they don't ask why. Papa, 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 you and I.
It's Paul McCartney Week on Sirius XM.
And he's taking you track by track through his brand new album, Egypt Station.
Do it now is an expression my dad used to say. It's funny, you know, as you get older, you remember things that your parents or maybe teachers or friends said. And if there's a catchphrase, and my dad's big catchphrase is, well, do it now. You know, you'd sort of say, no, well, I'll do it later. He said, well, no, do it now. And he used to say D-I-N. So that was just his particular little catchphrase. And I always thought D-I-N, that's a great name for a record label. Din. You know, so anyway, this has always been in my mind, this do it now thing. So I was looking for an idea to write a song about. So then I started off, okay, I'm on a journey. I've been invited to go somewhere. So I'm going in my imagination somewhere. And the idea is that if I don't do it now, I may never get to this place. Basically, as a song, imaginary journey suggested by the fact that my dad would have said, go on that journey now, don't leave it till it's too late. So there it is, do it now.
Got the time, the inclination. I have answered your invitation. I'll be leaving in the morning. Watch me go. I don't know where the wind is blowing. Got directions to where I'm going. Nothing certain, that's the only thing I know. Do it now, while the vision is clear. Do it now, while the feeling is here. If you leave it too late, it could all disappear. Do it now, while your vision is clear. I'm taking the decision that I'm making is the right one, or I'm never gonna know. Got the time, the inclination. I have answered your invitation. I'll be leaving in the morning. Watch me go. So do it now, while your vision is clear. Do it now, while the feeling is here. If you leave it too late, it could all disappear. Do it now, while your vision is clear.
Paul McCartney takes you track by track through his brand new album, Egypt Station.
On the Beatles channel.
Caesar Rock. Okay, there's some times when I get in my studio with my engineer, Steve, and we just start making up stuff. We will just have no idea what we're going to do, but we'll play with things we're interested in. So I might just start off with a drum machine, do something, then put a little piano on it or put a bass on it, and then maybe sing some ideas on it. I went in one day and we started making this song. And then I was playing with a little auto-tune thing that I'd been familiarized with by working with Kanye. So I thought, I fancy having a go at this. And in a way, it's a bit sacrilegious. But then I started thinking, are you kidding me? You know, you listen to some of the Beatles records, Tomorrow Never Knows, lay down your money, and we were never that, you know, nothing was that sacred. So it was She's a Rock. But then we started referring to it as Caesar Rock because we were just having fun. And so we just built it up. So I liked that. I like this song because it's slightly oddball. You know, it's a song where anything goes, and I like it because of that. And then we got then a group of people in the studio, some of the engineers, some of the guys who were hanging around. I said, okay, come on, we're all going to go in and just be this big chorus thing. And then the thing I love about it is right at the end of the track, I still don't know how this happened, but it must have been me that shouted, she's got matching teeth. And everyone goes, she's got matching teeth. And it's like, I like the idea of matching teeth. I mean, I was playing with that as an album title. Matching teeth. Yes. So, I mean, that was one we had a lot of fun with. Caesar Rock.
Paul McCartney is your tour guide.
On a track-by-track journey through his brand new album, Egypt Station.
I was in Japan and I was reading a newspaper. I think it was like the Tokyo Times, Japan Times or something. And there was something about climate change. And it's typical, you know, the way people are kind of not doing anything about it. It's all going to be fine. Don't worry. Oh, yeah, sure, there's icebergs melting, but it doesn't matter. It's not melting in London. So don't worry about it, you know. And the phrase was in this article, it started off, despite repeated warnings, they're not listening, was the idea. I liked that phrase, despite repeated warnings. I thought, yeah, that sums up a lot of people's feelings. And then thought, well, what I'll do is I'll do a kind of song where I use symbolism. And so the person that will be symbolic of certain politicians, people who argue that climate change is a hoax, and we know a few. So I'll do it about that, and I'll get somebody to symbolize one of those people. So I thought, okay, it's a sea captain, and he's steering a boat, and he's going to go towards the icebergs, but he's been warned, but he's going because he thinks he's right, and he thinks they're all making too much of it, and the usual arguments, So that's what it's about. It's a sort of story, like the Titanic. If they'd been warned, hey, you're going to sink from icebergs, and if the captain said, doesn't matter, we'll be fine. So it's that, using that kind of idea. So there's a sort of mad, daft captain, and then there's all the people on the boat who know he's got it wrong. So it's very symbolic for what's going on in some areas of politics, in my mind. So it's one of those songs like Band on the Run or Live and Let Die that's kind of episodic, and it's kind of an epic production. But that is it, and it is hopefully trying to remind people that climate change is not a hoax, and that we should avoid having a mad captain steering us towards the icebergs.
Despite repeated warnings of dangers up ahead, the captain won't be listening to what's being said. He feels that there's a good chance that we have been misled, and so the captain's planning to steer ahead. What can we do? What can we do? What can we do to stop this foolish plan going through? What can we do? What can we do? Yeah, yeah. This man is bound to lose his ship and his crew. Despite repeated warnings from those who want to know, well, he's got his own agenda, and so he'll go. Those who shout the loudest may not always be the smartest, but they have their proudest moments right before they fall. Red sky in the morning doesn't ever seem to face him, but a sailor's warning signal should concern us all. Whoa, whoa. Stop him, grab the keys and lock him up. If we can do it, we can save the day. The engine rise, the needle's gonna look, the engine's gonna blow, and we're gonna be left down below, down below. Despite repeated warnings, our dangers up ahead. Well, the captain wasn't listening to what was said. The trouble led to the captain. I was told him to turn round. They had the bloody laughs in our faces. Said that we are mistaken. So we gather around him. Now the ropes that have bound him. That he should have listened to the will of the people. It's the will of the people. It's the will of the people.
It's Paul McCartney Week on Sirius XM.
And here, taking you through his brand new album, Egypt Station, Paul McCartney.
Station 2 is a continuation of the opening soundscape that takes us back to the station. It's an imaginary station. And, you know, I like the idea that it's a train station or it's a radio station. It's just some imaginary place. So we had fun just making up a soundscape. And then at the end of it, we thought, well, it'd be a nice idea to vaguely, in this big station, hear someone plugging in a guitar like as a busker coming to play some songs and earn some money. So you hear him plug in and he plays a riff. It was the beginning of one of our songs called Hunt You Down. So he plays the dun 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 dun, and then it gradually gets louder until it becomes the real song.
The new album, Egypt Station.
A track-by-track guided tour with Paul McCartney.
That's a three-part song, which goes from this sort of rocker, Hunt You Down, and the words are, I can't find my love, no matter how hard I try. You know, it's giving me the runaround. It's kind of like blues complaining lyrics. Yeah, my woman done hurt me. I can't find my love. You know, it's that kind of thing. So I'm having fun with that and doing this little rock and roll piece, and that became Hunt You Down. And then it goes through into another song called Naked, and again it links through because there's like a tempo change at the end of Hunt You Down. It goes from 4/4 into 3/4 and goes into this other song, which is a very simple song that I'd recorded pretty much on my own. It's a simple song about I've been naked since I was born. And, you know, this thing we go through, that's life, that everyone goes through it. And in a way, there are many situations that you find yourself where you're kind of naked socially. You can sort of feel naked. I don't know how to deal with this, you know. So that was a song about, that's my take on that. As I say, I played it myself and sang it myself in the studio. And then that links on to another thing we called C-Link in the end, which is just me totally indulging myself in wanting to play guitar. And the original take on it is about 11 minutes, I think. But it's just me really enjoying playing electric guitar. Because I always say to people often say, why do you still do it? I say, well, because I love it. I love this thing. And I'm still thrilled with having the privilege of being able to go up to an amp, turn it on, get my guitar, plug it in, and play it very loud. It's a thrill, you know, and it's never stopped being a thrill, that. And then there were certain little phrases that were kind of more melodic than others. A lot of it's just bluesy phrases. There were one or two in there that suggested something else. So we orchestrated a few of the phrases and made it a little bit more of a composition. It was an idea that I fancied doing. I'd fancied doing it for a long time, of just getting someone, turned out to be me, who was just going to get someone to play blues guitar against an orchestra holding a chord. In this case, it was C and then C minor. Just the orchestra hold this chord forever and ever and ever, and then there's guitar playing over the top of it. And that finishes the album. And then right at the end of that session, I was having so much fun that you just hear a little woo, and that's it.
Makes me wanna lay down and cry.
Paul McCartney just took you on a guided tour of his brand new album, Egypt Station.
Part of Paul McCartney Week on Sirius XM.
Missed any? Hear it again
Tonight, 11 p.m. Eastern, 8 Pacific.
on the Beatles channel.